Attention, forward-thinking business leaders. Are you ready to unlock the secrets of success and propel your organization to new heights? Then mark your calendars, because an exclusive opportunity awaits you. Introducing the Center for Public Service Productivity and Development Membership Workshop, the ultimate event for business owners, CEOs, directors, managers, and decision-makers like you. Join us at the prestigious Sheraton Hotel in Ikeja for a transformative experience that will revolutionize your business organizational strategies. Imagine being in the presence of industry pioneers, thought leaders, and visionaries who have achieved remarkable success. At our workshop, you'll gain direct access to their invaluable insights, innovative strategies, and proven techniques. This isn't just another conference. Our workshop is designed to ignite inspiration, foster collaboration, and provide you with practical tools you can implement immediately. Network with like-minded professionals, exchange ideas, and forge powerful connections that will impact your business for years to come. A direct involvement of being a member of senior professionals. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity to take your business career to the next level. Seats are limited, so secure your spot today. Join us and be prepared to elevate your business career to unprecedented heights. For physical participation, venue, Sheraton Lagos Hotel Ikeja, Lagos. For virtual participation, live via Zoom. The CeProd Membership Workshop, where business leaders converge for success. Reserve your spot now. Contact us, info@centerforproductivity.org +234-803-587-8800.
Good morning, members of Center for Public Service Productivity and Development. I'm Ajunwa Callistus. And we are here today to talk about, we have our, hello?
Go ahead, we are hearing you.
Okay. So we have our paper presenter today, which is titled Ethics and Productivity, a Correlation. And our presenter is, the paper presenter is paper presenter Dr. Miriam Abdul, Fellow 2, Associate Professor, Kaduna State University. And I equally want to acknowledge the presence of a member of governing council presence and every other fellow members of the Great Institute. Before the paper presenter can continue, I want to go through her profile. Dr. Miriam Abdul, MSc, MBA, FNIM, FCAI, FIMC, CMC, ACS, PhD, FCP. Dr. Miriam Abdul, an esteemed academician and researcher, holds the esteemed position of Associate Professor at Kaduna State University, Faculty of Management Science, with an impressive background in business administration, management, and economics. She's renowned for her significant contribution to academia. Dr. Abdul's education journey includes a PhD in business administration for Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. She currently serves as the Vice President of Academy of Management, Nigeria, and holds esteemed fellowship and membership in prestigious organizations, including the Institute of Director and Nigerian Institute of Management, Chartered. With her extensive knowledge and expertise, Dr. Abdul is set to make a considerable impact on CeProd's activity, particularly in the area of board development, training, program development, and government relations, education and qualification, PhD in Business Administration, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. MSc in Business Administration, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. MBA in Business Administration, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. BSc in Business Administration, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. Additional qualifications include Computer Operations Certificate from Digital Bridge Institute and NIIT Center, Kaduna. Professional and academic achievement. Dr. Abdul has earned numerous fellowship and membership, including the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, Institute of Directors, the Nigerian Institute of Management Chartered, the Center for Public Service Productivity and Development, and various international research organizations. She is recognized for her exceptional contribution to academia, including serving as the chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Management Chartered, Kaduna chapter, a former council member of the Nigerian Institute of Management Chartered. Her research interests span various areas of business administration, including strategic management, international business, financial analysis, and risk management. Teaching and supervision. Dr. Abdul's teaching career spans undergraduate, postgraduate, and professional programs. She has supervised a significant number of research projects and theses at both the undergraduate and postgraduate levels, contributing to the academic development of her students. Administrative experience. She has held various administrative roles within the university, including serving as the head of Department of Business Administration. Her administrative expertise extends to consultancy services and participation in university committee. Contribution to research and publication. Dr. Abdul is a prolific researcher with a focus on topics related to business, economics, and management. She has presented papers at numerous international and local conferences, insights. Her insight and expertise with fellow scholars and practitioners. Her publication cover a wide range of areas, including banking, economic growth, corporate governance, and capital markets. It is on this note that I present to you the paper presenter today, Dr. Abdul Mariam. Thank you.
Thank you very much for reading my citation.
You're welcome, Doctor.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you today, this morning, to discuss this topic on ethics and productivity. Can the host enable me share my slide?
Yes, ma, you can go ahead, please. You're already called.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see it.
All right.
Thank you. Can we go to the next slide, please? Now, the presentation, the outline of the presentation is going to cover these topics. I'm going to discuss the concepts of ethics. Then we'll look at the concept of productivity, factors that affect productivity, principles of ethical decision-making, relationship between ethics and productivity, and then we'll look at the importance of productivity. And then I'll talk about the Center for Public Service and Development after all these presentations. Now, traditionally, I always begin with a quote. And this quotation is from Albert Einstein, who states that, "Try not to become a person of success, but rather try to become a person of value." Now, this is very key and very critical when we're looking at ethical decisions. So the concept of ethics, next slide, please. What do we mean by ethics? Several definitions have been given regarding ethics. Some of them are as follows. I've just picked some of the definitions. We have ethics as standards of doing the right thing in terms of rights, obligations, benefits to society, fairness, or specific virtues. It is also a moral principle that governs a person's behavior or conducting an activity. It examines the rational justification for our moral judgments and it studies what is morally right or wrong, just or unjust. Next slide, please. Ethics is concerned with the good or bad in our interactions. That is why it's very important when you're looking at ethics, you have to look at yourself, then look at the good in it before you transform to others. Ethical behavior concerns with what is good for others. When we're talking about ethics, we don't only look about ourselves, we even look about the environment, the others, the company, everywhere. Not necessarily yourself, but even outside. That's why we say it concerns about the behavior of good for others. Next slide, please. Now, with ethics comes productivity. Productivity is simply a measure of the efficiency of a person, machine, factory, system, etc., in converting inputs into useful outputs. Now, the key word here is converting inputs into useful outputs. Now, productivity is the key to any company's profitability and long-term success. It measures how much a company can produce from resources such as the labor, capital, and raw materials. How much of these inputs are you able to turn into profitable outputs, manageable outputs, good outputs? If a company improves its productivity, it can generate more output from its resources. And the resources we're talking about are the persons, the machines, and the factory. Now, the persons actually the individual or the people working within that organization. The machines are the tools that you use in conducting such activity. And then the factory is actually what the factory produces. Now, all these factors are important when we're looking at generating output for productivity. Next slide, please. Now, I looked at a study that was conducted by Willa Bruce in 1994. The study was the study of ethical people are productive people. Now, that particular study was so important to me. It was quite interesting that I decided to share in this particular lecture. The author started with a quote where he says, where ethics is concerned, managers and supervisors make a difference. And that is just key to what we're talking about in productivity. In that particular study, they looked at the work of Magoon in 1989, where Magoon asked one very important question. And this question you can imagine as far back as 1989, and they're asking, what are the most important issues for the year ahead? Now, the study looked at practitioners and academics, to get their response. And ideally, what they actually responded were that two issues are ethics and productivity. In that order, ethics first, then productivity. So one can imagine how important ethics and productivity has been as far back as even the 80s and 70s. So these are very important issues when we're looking at anything, when it comes to company performance, when it comes to business performance, when it comes to individual performance, wherever you are, because productivity is key. Now, they were able to even identify that to put ethics into practical behavior, an ethical employee is one who does not engage in illegal behavior, and one who consequently acts in ways that place the benefit of the government and the public above personal benefit. Now, this is very key when we're talking about productivity. We don't look at ourselves individually, but we look at really what the public, what the government, or what the entity stands to gain as opposed to what you stand to gain personally. Normally, when you're looking at ethical behavior, you say to yourself, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? Am I doing anything in the best interest of that particular organization? So this is the most important thing. You're thinking towards that direction. But the key thing is that the government and the public must benefit from this, your ethical behavior. Can we have the next slide, please? Now, sorry, the next slide. This will come later, fine. Ethical employees are active and they're not passive. If you're very active, then it means you're quite ethical. They work on behalf of the government and the public for the betterment of all. It's important to note that ethical employees are not just technocrats who follow directions. They are citizens concerned with and representing the public interest. Being ethical is not easy, nor is it encouraging your employees to be ethical. Now, all these were results that were found in that particular study that I was telling you about. This was what they all identified, and I want to believe this is what is the reality on ground as we're in 2024. This is the reality in ground. Next page, next slide, please. Now, to improve productivity, work ethics affect productivity of every organization, and this is a fundamental fact. If we don't have good work ethics in place, definitely productivity of that organization is going to be affected. This is because the human resource is the most important resource in every organization. So any organization that you are seeing that has succeeded in life, actually, as far as I'm concerned, has a great thanks or great potential from the resources, the human resources of that particular organization. So that is why human resource is key. And that is why as humans, as the resources, we have to be ethical in whatever we're doing to ensure that we have the necessary productive outputs. Next slide, please. Now, what are the factors that affect productivity? There are several factors that affect productivity, but I've been able to identify some few which are very key for this particular training. Now, the work environment, such as the lighting, the temperature, the noise level, the cleanliness, all these things affect productivity. There was a study that was conducted in the 20s in the US when we were during we call it the Hawthorne studies, where they found out that it was a car manufacturing plant, and they wanted to find out the productivity of that particular company, if they increase the lighting or they reduce the lighting system. And they found that once they increased the lighting system, there was more productivity. So environment is actually key. Lighting is key. It affects productivity. Then we look at the workplace culture. What is the kind of culture that we have? What is the culture of the workplace? Is it convenient? Is it not convenient? Are people happy with the culture? You find that the culture really actually affects the productivity of that particular workplace. Then the workload. We don't want a situation where people are overloaded with work. It brings productivity. I think when people are working, they should be given the right workload. It affects productivity. Training and development. How often is the company training and developing its personnel? Leadership. What kind of leadership do we have? Communication. What is the communication system in that particular company? Is it a healthy communication? Is it a healthy communication? What of health and wellness? Are the employees healthy? Are they well? Then what kind of technology and equipment are they working with? All these are factors that actually affect productivity. Next slide, please. Next slide. Now, after productivity, we're going to look at now the principles that guides us in ethical decision making. It's very, very important that once you are going to make any decision making, it should be backed ethically by very good, sound decisions. Now, the first thing is integrity. Definitely, the person must have integrity. If you don't have integrity, then there's a big ethical problem there. Respect. If you respect others, people will actually respect you. So respect is actually part of an ethical decision making. Look at the responsibility. How responsible is one is. In making this decision, are you going to be responsible or are you going to be irresponsible? People behave differently. We have people think differently, but whatever you do, it's very key and important that you behave responsibly. What of fairness? Are you going to be fair in your decision making? You have to be fair. Are you going to make a decision that is capturing or benefiting one sector or not benefiting the other? So fairness has to come to play when you're looking at ethical decisions. What of compassion? There must be a little bit of compassion in whatever you're going to do. Then courage. Courage is very key. Once you make a decision, you have to have the courage to take that decision and make sure that it's... And then wisdom. People should be wise. All these are parts of ethical decision making. All these are, and this is from the source is a business strategy of 2022, where they identify these 7 aspects as ethical aspects in making your decisions. Can I have the next slide, please? Now, what is the relationship between ethics and productivity? Definitely there is a relation. In fact, there is a direct correlation between ethical conduct and job satisfaction. Because if you don't have job satisfaction, productivity is going to be a problem. So when there's ethical conduct and job satisfaction, we have a good correlation. Then what about work ethics and organizational performance? If you have job satisfaction, I can tell you there's going to be organizational performance and there's going to be higher productivity. This means that if people are happy with their work ethics, naturally, they are going to be more productive. But when they're not happy, the productivity is naturally going to go down. A happy employee turns out to be a productive employee in an ethical environment. So employees should be happy to a great extent so that they can be ethically sound. When there is job satisfaction, there will be higher productivity. People with a strong work ethic take pride in their jobs and see every task they do as important. Very, very important. If you take pride in your job, naturally, the job you do is quite important, and actually that will lead to greater productivity. These employees rarely, if ever, arrive at the job late. Examples of such employees, they complete all assigned projects in a timely manner and avoid holding up the workflow of the rest of the organization. So, and you know that these employees are actually taking pride in their jobs. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
Yesterday you complained of waste pen.
Now, the importance of ethics. Importance of ethics.
We asked him to get a
Can you kindly mute yourself, please? Somebody talking at the background and interfering. Lovely. The importance of ethics for productivity. Now, the first thing is that it boosts employee morale. It boosts employee morale. The second importance for ethics in productivity is that it enhances productivity. The third important one is it gives better decision making. Decision making is key because if you give a decision that is bound to be detrimental to the organization, then there's going to be a problem. Then the decision making is better with ethics and productivity. And then it enhances reputation. It enhances reputation. And finally, it improves teamwork. Now, these are the important aspects of ethics when we're looking at ethics for productivity. Can I have the next slide, please? Next slide. Now, what is the role of CeProd in productivity? A brief history of CeProd is that it became a legal entity on the 11th of December, and it was registered as a non-governmental and non-profit organization. It's a world-class productivity center in Africa, and it's a productivity to all sectors of the African economy. There are calls for concerted efforts and measures to reverse the declining trends of productivity of third world economies, hence intervention of CeProd. Next slide, please. Now, we have some news here about CeProd and some awareness campaigns and national and international publications that CeProd has done, which is there on the screen. In 2021, 2019, in 2020, 2020, and it goes on and on and on. Next slide, please. Now, what are the benefits of joining CeProd? We show that our members, the best productivity principles, the values, the standards, the practices as a crucial factor in performance of their organizations and businesses. Members understand that increasing personal productivity raises their living standards and enhances national productivity. Next slide, please. Now, this is a picture of some of the CeProd induction workshop that was conducted in August in 2021. Beautiful faces, smiling, holding their certificates, which is so awesome. Next slide, please. Now, the benefits, naturally, members' productivity improves. The more their real incomes improves, their ability to purchase goods and services, enjoy leisure, improve housing and education, contribute to social and environmental impact will increase. All these benefits that one derives joining CeProd. Then productivity, naturally, which is very essential and key to CeProd, is on the increase. It makes the business profitable because we're looking at a situation where you can put 20% and get 80% output in whatever it is that you're doing. Next slide, please. Now, the benefit, naturally, like most professional bodies, you bear the nomenclatures of ACP, MCP, or FCP. Then we have monthly newsletter and special research reports that keep members informed about emerging issues in the profession, locally and internationally. Next issue, please. Next slide. It is a unique opportunity for self-development. Members have frequent opportunities to exchange ideas, experience professionals so as to update and expand their skills. There is an ongoing program that involves productivity coaching purely to assist members in understanding the main determinants or drivers of productivity growth. Now, certain factors are critical for determining productivity growth. Next slide, please. Now, listing on the online, we have a membership directory for CeProd. We have international networking among business leaders and professionals. And then we have access to members repository digital productivity library. Now, this library is fantastic. It's awesome. There are a lot of information there that really members can benefit in all areas of management and productivity. You can get your hands on it and you can read and then update your literature. Now, there's a listing in the online CeProd membership directory. We have international networking among business leaders and professionals. There's access to members' depository, digital productivity library. Can we go to the next slide, please? Now, what is the importance of ethics? I think I've discussed that. It boosts employee morale, contributes to high productivity. It gives better decision-making, enhances reputation, and improves teamwork. Next slide, please. Now, to end this particular session, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to end with a very important quote from CeProd, which I found very, very important, very key, and very necessary. It's really important and it's nice. It states that outstanding performers are highly productive, of which many belong to the Center for Productivity and Public Service. So I thank you so much for listening to my little presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, are you there?
Okay. The chairman, is chairman still there?
Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. In fact, it is an interesting topic you picked today, and we are happy. We are happy. Yes, sir. We thank God for the presentation, and I think it will go a long way to assist us too in our workplace. And it is on this note that I will say that the presentation is rich, and we would like to, I don't know if we'll take some questions from members where we have challenges, or if where we can put it to practice. If there are questions, maybe like the digits, I don't know, like how many questions are we permitted to take because of time?
If we take 3 questions, she will answer. Another 3, she will answer.
It's okay. It's okay.
Question, yeah.
It's okay. So can we have those who want to ask questions?
Question.
Yeah. How do we raise our hands up?
Okay, I think we have Dr. Dan Wibo. Okay, Dr. Dan Wibo, can we take your question?
Yeah, Dan Wibo, we are not hearing you. Okay, why he's trying to...
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah.
We can. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you for all you do, and thank you to Madam for a wonderful work. I am calling in from the UK. I'm not a member, but I think somehow you guys got my email and sent me the attendance. I had some time. I'm actually a lecturer here, and my question is to Madam. Her presentation is very timely, considering the level of unproductivity we have in some of our systems at home in Nigeria. And I was just thinking aloud, if there is a way you organization collaborate or somehow coalesce with government agencies, because most times, particularly in government, we just see that people are employed, they are doing nothing. In short, their behavior is the last thing you can think about when you think about ethics. I don't know if there is a way we can bring this kind of consciousness to those who work in public service, considering how the situation is at home. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you. Fine. Thank you. Can we have the second person?
Solomon, where? Solomon, where?
Yeah, good morning. Thanks you, Mark. Wonderful lecture. My question is on the work overload. What can the employee say when the employer has loaded him or her with much workload? Has he any say about that? I want more explanation on it.
Okay. The third one, Albert. Yeah.
Yes. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doctor. It's a very wonderful presentation. I was one of your MBA project students. I think I am enjoying you a lot, and I really enjoyed this presentation. A quick one, please. On the topic ethical principles or ethical behavior, who sets the ethical principle for an organization? And at what stage do we have the ethical principle for that? Is it at conception, or is going to be periodic, maybe year in, year out? The second question borders on what the last speaker just asked about the work overload. How do I know that I am overloaded in terms of jobs? Human beings can generally do a lot. At times, if you are not stretched, you don't know what you may likely do. So at what stage do I know I am overloaded? Thank you.
Okay, so she can take three.
Yes, let me take these three first before we continue, before I forget. Thank you very much for your questions. The first speaker was speaking from the UK, and he was asking about how to join, right? How to join this particular body. The instructions, you can log on to the website of CeProd and you'll see how you can become a member of CeProd. And you were saying that is it possible to give lectures to public servants about ethics? Is it possible for CeProd to collaborate? Am I right?
Yes,
with
you're right.
Governing bodies, so that well, this is the charter of CeProd. We are here to develop the person individually, but we do collaborate. We do give lectures because it's all about productivity and ethical practices, which is very key and which is lacking in a lot of organizations in Nigeria. I can tell you that it is lacking. Unfortunately, that is why productivity is going down. That is why profitability is going down. That is why growth is going down. Morale of the staff are going down. So we need to revisit and rejiggle the issue of ethics, work ethics and ethical conduct in each employee and each organization. You see, apart from even the employee, there are organizational ethics as well. Ethics does not just rest on the employee itself, it equally rests on the organization itself, because the organization must be a fair playing ground for the employees. Then the third question was from my student. I think, what were you asking? I've forgotten that one. You were saying how...
Okay, yes, ma'am. The first question on who sets the ethical standard or the principle for the organization.
Okay.
And the follow-up question is based on the workload, as you mentioned in your presentation. How do I know I am overloaded? There is this work-life balance. They said you have to strike that balance between when you are overloaded or not. So when do I know I am overloaded? Bearing in mind that if I'm stretched at times, I can do more.
Yeah. You see, in each organization, we have something called a mission and a vision. And this is where it gives the direction of where you are and where you want to be, where you see yourself in future. Now, that is the guiding principle for every organization. The mission and the vision guides the ethical conduct. But the issue of ethics and rules lies with both the organization and the individual, because each organizations have their own rules. of which any worker must comply with. And in complying with, we expect this individual worker to be ethical in whatever he or she does. Ethics is actually the key to productivity. So once you have you should know what is right and what is wrong, what is good or what is bad behavior. This is what leads to actually productivity. And then when you're talking about workload, there was, let me quote the former Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. He said that the reward for hard work is more hard work. I can tell you this is what I see in myself. As I'm working hard, I'm getting more work done. But the issue of productivity now, workload, we don't want a situation where the employee will overburden the employer will overburden the employee with so much work that he's not able to attain it. So you have supervisors at each level. Each supervisor knows your capability. He knows what you're capable of doing, what you're not capable of doing. So when it comes to workload, there are jobs that are assigned to specific people to do whatever it is they're going to do. So we expect the workload to be a cognizance with the flow of the work of the organization so that you'll be able to produce good results. Now, for instance, suppose an employee gives you 10 things to do at the same time and he says he wants results by tomorrow. I can tell you you may not be able to achieve that. So when we're talking of workload, it should be something that should be achievable. It should be something that should be achievable. And that's why I said the employer himself must be ethical, because he must know how to share these workloads amongst the employees. Okay? But the most important thing is that I want everybody to be actually productive and be able to do something than not doing anything at all. We do have people, I can tell you, that are doing nothing. I have so many examples. They're doing nothing. They're just sitting down, just collecting salaries and doing nothing. And that is not really acceptable when you are looking at productivity. So let me have the other questions. I can see 4 hands up.
Okay.
Sorry, 4 hands are up. Who is recognized to speak?
Hello, okay, good morning. Or can you make a comment or a question?
Okay, what I wanted to ask is, I listened to the lecture, but there's one question that is sticking out in my mind. And the question is, even though the lecturer addressed it in one of the questions that she answered, that the organization also has ethics to be conscious. Now, where is the place of reward in this ethics issue? Where is the place of reward? Because in my own opinion, the reward system an organization has also plays a critical role in motivation, in inspiring, and in getting their staff to deliver on their terms and objectives. So the question summary is, what is the place of a functional and adequate and effective reward system in the ethics issue? Thank you.
Okay. Kabir Mohammed, can you take your own question? Kabir Mohammed.
Good morning, presenter. Good morning, other members of the panel, fellow listeners. First of all, I wish to commend this presentation. The presenter, as I know, is a very hardworking and eloquent academic. The topic is very much of interest because I think most of the problems we have in Nigeria today are really centered around poor ethics. Almost everything you can talk about. The decadence in our society, all this corruption, everything is all due to lack of proper ethics. If people understand why they should have and maintain good ethics, I bet you 90% of our problems will be solved. Some of us who have been privileged to travel to a lot of countries, you see people doing the right thing without any policeman being by their side. And you see things working. Nobody's out to cheat you. You know? So that is the ethics. You go to a place, you meet people before you don't go ahead of them. You make sure those that were there before you are attended before you. That is ethics. Courtesy is also part of ethics. So you see, almost everything has to do with ethics. To me, all this so-called talk of religion, it's not religion that solves problems, because in most cases, a lot of people who pretend to be religious, if I may say so, are not really ethical. Ethics is what matters, even if we don't even need to know your religion. Ethics is what would put the society straight. I can tell you recently somebody went to pay his ground rent to a government organization, and the person who was to collect that ground rent, he went on his own, not that he was even asked to do so, wanted to collect gratification. Imagine somebody is coming to make payment to you and you want to collect gratification. So how it shows that the person does not even understand how the system works. It's like somebody coming to pay you your rent, and then you say he should pay you, he should give you something before he pays. So we have a problem here, you see, and I think it's very good that this topic is being looked at, and I think it needs to be propagated at a national scale. And ethics, as I heard you correctly say, is not really just about the employees, it's even about the organizations. In most cases, I think it should even start from the organization, because if you don't put in place, proper, should I say, proper channels and a situation whereby the employees see that, they are part and parcel of that place. Whatever the employer makes, the employees in a way have some benefit from it, then you wouldn't have things going right. So this is just my observation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Kabir Mohammed. So let's listen to the last person, this third person before she answers the question. Enoch Oyokuyi, can we listen to him?
Okay, good morning all. I thank the Associate Prof. Mariam Abdul on her presentation. It was quite apt and as asserted to is what we actually need now to reshape whatsoever is going on in the country as a whole. My take will be on one of the questions that was asked. If a supervisor or whosoever load you with too much work, what do you do? My take will be there's need to be a conversation. Get back to whosoever send those jobs, prioritize the job and do it in the scale of preference. Wherever on your very, on your very open mind, wherever you can get to, whatsoever you can achieve, based on all your input, achieve that and report back. You may likely be given more time to complete the rest. So that's how to upscale one's productivity in line with this ethic as you mentioned. Thank you. That's my own observation. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Let's listen to the Prof respond to this.
Okay, thank you so very much. The first speaker was talking about what is the satisfaction, what is the reward of having this ethical behavior. You see, there are instances where organizations, it depends on the organizational policy. There are some organizations that do end of service reward for people that are productive. I know in the civil service in Kaduna State, we do that. We recognize civil servants that have excelled in the profession. So there are really rewards that come with ethical practices. The first one is the company stands to benefit and gains more money, gains profitability, and I guess in the end, they'll be able to give good dividends to the workers. You may have bonus pay if you're doing very well and there's productivity, the company will reward you. The second one is for the individual himself. I can tell you there's a great benefit for as an individual to achieve what he or she does. I can tell you whenever I go to class and come out, reward doesn't have to be in monetary terms. It's the performance, the satisfaction that people have actually understood what I'm saying. When I see my students and they tell me they're very happy, they have learned from me, I can tell you that is my greatest reward. This is my aim, and I have achieved it. So reward does not really have to be in monetary terms. It could be satisfactory. And the reward really will go to the organization. And I can tell you if the organization is doing very well, it's going to reflect on the staff of the organization. Definitely you're going to have pay increases, you're going to have bonuses. So there's a lot of reward that really comes to it. I know people will talk of reward, they will talk about only the monetary benefits. It's not only monetary benefits, sometimes the satisfaction. Thank you very much, my brother Kabiru, for the wonderful addition to knowledge on this particular issue. Kabiru has said it all. This is what we have a problem in this country, and ethics is a very big part of that problem. So I'm very happy that actually, at least people have actually noted that really we have an ethical problem in the country. Then the last speaker was talking about, I think you were making a comment, right? The last speaker was kind of making a comment regarding the other two topics. Am I right? The other two presenters, am I right? Yeah. The last speaker, I think he was making a comment, not asking a question, Basi.
Yes. Yeah, so thanks a lot. So before we go on to take more questions, if you need the materials for this lecture, members will get the videos and the slides, whereas non-members will get only the videos. Optional, you can also get e-certificate if you pay 5,000. So you can put in the comment section that your email name, so that you can be able to get these things. And if you need the e-certificate as an evidence of participation in this program, you can also indicate. So let's take the other questions.
Sorry, Doctor, before we take the other question, I remember somebody was talking about your supervisor overburdening you with work. What do you do? Well, you see, as a supervisor, that's why I said when we're looking at ethics, it's two ways. It's to the individual and the company itself. I don't expect a supervisor should really overburden his staff, because I can tell you if he does that, he's not going to get the results. That is just the truth of the matter, because you cannot give what you can, much more than what you cannot give. You can only give what you can give. So the responsibility of the supervisor is to see the capability of that particular staff and assign jobs appropriately. You don't come and assign a humongous amount of jobs for a staff that cannot deliver. I can tell you there will be no productivity in that. But if you give a job that somebody can do it within his or her means, then there's going to be productivity. And there's no harm in the staff approaching the supervisor, telling him that, honestly, I don't think I will be able to achieve all these things. I will do my best, but I don't think, if it's possible for me to be giving a longer time to achieve what it is I'm going to achieve, or maybe assign some jobs to another person so that they can be a fair playing ground. Thank you, Doctor. I think you can continue with the next questions.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So let's listen to Primus Chikwen or question. Okay, while you are trying to unmute, let's listen to Andrew.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, good morning, sir. Good morning, madam, and everybody.
Good morning.
My question goes like this, please. What do you do when some work ethical principles are not maintained despite efforts put in place? Because there are situations where you go to an establishment or an industry, you find out that some people feel they have stayed so long in the company and are too important that they can do whatever they like without being punished or without being monitored or something of that nature. So they have this mentality of being indispensable, or they if they are punished, they won't have somebody to do that particular job the way they do it themselves. What actually, how do you intend, correcting this anomaly?
Okay, thank you. Let's listen to Andrew.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me clearly?
Very well.
Okay, thank you for this lecture. I know a lot of people have said about ethics and productivity. Is a real issue in our country, even in corporate Nigeria as well too. But I also learned something from a friend, a senior friend in Germany, whereby, children were taught ethics, values, patriotism, leadership in their primary school. Let me use that category of teaching in school, primary school, in their young age. And it is part of their, education at a very tender age. So they grow up with that mentality of productivity, value, leadership, patriotism, being patriotic, and sticking to rules and regulation. As an institution, I'm also hoping that what you've just taught now and bringing to our memory, we know these things that they are right? But you see, if they are not inculcated in our educational system, if they are not inculcated in how we bring up the next generation, I think we will continue to have more and more of this repetition of what we are seeing. So I'm just suggesting that, as an institute, you should look for how to collaborate with educational system. I love your lecture, but I'm also suggesting that I look for ways to incorporate this in our educational system so that, we can see less of this damage in our country and society. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's listen to Dr. Grace Pam.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone, and happy International Day, Women's Day to all the women. Thank you also to the presenter. I just have a question, and I have been asking it in different places. I hope that somebody here can help. In line with the last person who just asked a question or made a contribution, what is the Nigerian value? I have asked this in many people. I just need to understand. I am almost 50. I just need to know so I can at least help in the spreading of this as a lecturer and as a mother. What exactly is the Nigerian value? We know different societies are very clear about it. And I don't think that since I was born to this point, I have ever really known what the Nigerian value is. Thank you.
Okay, so let's listen to Prof.
Thank you so very much. Let me start with my fellow lady. I'm happy there's a lady here and she's wishing us a happy International Women's Day. Thank you so much. I have a lot of programs today. In fact, I'm receiving an award today this evening regarding the International Women's Day. So thank you.
Congratulations, Doc.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Now, really, you have been asking about the value. We know our values. We cannot say this is a particular value that imbibes all Nigerians, but we know our values and they're guided by our norms, traditions, and our beliefs. And we should imbibe on values that are actually good. You will never get an answer that will tell you, yes, this is the value for Nigeria. There are so many. If you look at our national anthem, if you look at our national pledge, code of conduct of many professional bodies, you see that there's a lot of issues on values that are discussed. And it's very key and it's so necessary that we actually live and work with these values. This is what I can say regarding values. I don't know if I've answered you, but maybe I've made a little point that you can ponder upon.
Thank you. I can say that. This is
you said
problems to manage. I said I think you have tried.
Fine,
as
lovely.
something I have identified as one of our needs.
Okay, lovely.
Yes.
Then the first speaker was talking about the employee that feels he knows too much, he's above the law, he has stayed in the organization for so long, he can do and undo, and I think he has risen to higher positions, right? If I'm not mistaken. I think that's what the speaker is trying to ask. And then how do we address such, right? Am I right? So you see, that is why when we're talking about ethics, it is the individual. And as far as I'm concerned, by the time you rise or have stayed in an organization for very long, you should be an example to other people. Now, if a person is displaying some unethical behavior, definitely there must be a high authority that can checkmate that behavior. When we're talking about ethics and work ethics, we're looking at the individual. In fact, it starts even from the board of directors and then down to the lowest paid employee in that organization. Ethics is ethics. It's just a behavior of what is right and what is wrong, which we expect every worker and every individual to have and imbibe by him. If we have people that are behaving contrary to that a philosophy, then there is a problem. And we have so many of them in this country behaving in such a manner. But that is actually quite unethical. But there is no, it's not too late to change. It's not too late to train and motivate. That was why I even said training and development as part of my slides. It's very key and very important. You have to train, you have to develop. It doesn't even have to be on, it can even be more on ethics, on work conduct. So it is very essential, and things are changing, and we have to go with the changing times. Things are changing, we have to go with the changing times. So as far as I'm concerned, a responsible person will not behave irresponsibly, especially as you grow. So it's very key and it's very important. I sincerely hope that has actually addressed part of your question. I may not be able to answer all because I have not been, I left paid work office work about 17 years ago when I resigned as a senior manager investments in Kaduna Investments. So I've been in the academia. And you know, the academic environment is quite difficult from the office environment. The office environment, you deal with your supervisors, superiors, and all that. But in the academic environment, it's quite different. And I don't know that things are changing, really. Things are changing, but we are hoping that they will change for better productivity. So if you have an employee that is behaving contrary, definitely he needs to have some ethical reorientation. And definitely there must be somebody in higher authority that can actually checkmate him, because it is unfair on the subordinates when the superior is behaving in such a manner. It doesn't set an example. Then I think there was another question, right?
The other one was a comment. Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm not writing down the comments. I'm just listening. So, but thank you so very much for the comments as well. They're quite handy and quite welcome. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Let's listen to some of our council members who are present on the issue of ethics and productivity. Let's listen to Oloyede Adeola. Are you still the Oloyede? Oloyede? Yeah, you can unmute, and you are the chairman of Intergovernmental Relations. So can you?
Yes. Yes, Doctor, thank you very much. As Prof, I'm so impressed, and that was a wonderful delivery. It's not unexpected. We expect to even do more than that. Thank you very much. And we hope when next we invite you, you do justice to any topic. Thank you very much, madam. As far as CeProd is concerned, because there was a question on whether we are collaborating or we are trying to, and there's another one that talks about whether we are trying to go lower to probably primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions to be able to now propagate the message of productivity. Yes, we have done this and we are still doing it. There was a report I gave to the board last week, and then we are probably to do more, and we are going to work on it. That this year we are going to have a very big impact on the Nigerian public service, and even Nigerians at large, by the grace of God. Also, when we talk about productivity, you cannot remove ethics. I actually served 35 years as a public servant. I know what all of the concerns about the public service. I know what we went through. Some of us had to work our life out for Nigeria. We know what we went through. We have abused. We have something anybody didn't say. However, there is no way the civil service will get up to the expectation of the people if you don't go back to the ethics that is enshrined in our public service rule. It's there. They're out there. They're out there. Everything I've been talking about ethics, they are there. It's just that people just decide to do whatever they like once they have gotten to positions in the public service. And this one has really have a big impact on the Nigerian society at large, because everything about Nigeria has to do with the public service. Because when service delivery is not good enough, there's no way Nigerians will benefit from the dividends of democracy. Let me leave it at that. Doctor, thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you, sir. DG.
Thanks. Let's also listen to another member of governing body, Dr. Joshua Odewale, who is also the chairman of our membership committee.
Thank you very much, sir, and all protocol observed. I want to thank the presenter for the very well presented, short and direct that makes everybody thinking. The only thing something that I just want to mention is that those who have listened to this lecture, whether members or non-members, should discuss it with their friends and colleagues so that they will know the benefit of attending the lecture, because there is no time for anything, not even for relaxation. It is only what you take as your priority that you create time for. And definitely, I know those who created time to listen to this for whatever reason, they never regretted attending. So mention it to, that's your experience, to friends and colleagues, so that they can also be part of this. And then the membership of CeProd is open to all, provided you have the prerequisites. And it is never honorary. Whether as fellow, as member, as associate member, it's never honorary. But when you take the lessons, you yourself, you know that it will improve your ethics and productivity. And then when we are talking of reward, we are always thinking of reward for good things. What we are having now is the reward for the evil we have done by overthrowing ethics and professionalism. When people do bad things, because, oh, he knows, because he came through, because of this, because of that, we lay the foundation for others to do negative things. And that's why we are now reaping what we are reaping. There's a Yoruba saying that says, if you don't have a relation, you don't have somebody close, you put your effort in what you are doing and do it well. But now a lot of people, they are depending on their relationship. And so they are not even interested in doing anything. I can assure you that those who are working hard in government circles, they are underpaid. But it is not the money that matters. But it is because currently when they are talking about what's the value now, the value that people are thinking about is just naira and kobo dollars. And that is not the main thing. The main thing is when you leave the work, will you be pointing at a bush and say that is where I worked? Or you'll be pointing at an organization that people will see and they want to be part of it? You should make it your own personal target, that where you live, you leave it better than you met it. Once more, I want to thank the DG and everyone for this opportunity. Let us try as much as possible to allow productivity to rule in our lives through ethical response. Thank you.
Thank you. Idris Tahir, we will conclude and we will answer. I will be here to listen to your question and answer. So let's take a concluding remark by a member of governing body, governing council, Dr. Engineer Soles Akode. Akode, please give us a concluding remark.
Okay, a very good morning to everyone, especially Dr. Miriam Abdul. Very excellent talk on this very important aspect of our lives. I work with Nigeria LNG, and you can see that I'm based in the plant. And for those who know us, you will find out that the two items you have touched on, we hold them very dear to our hearts. So very briefly, because of time, on the first one, on the workload, very excellent work you have done in that space. And just to briefly share what we do within our own space here. For the workload, a lot of questions were asked around how we can take care of that space. And what I would say here, and it's something I can share with everyone here. Every staff of ours has what we call a task and targets, and we make sure that they are smart. And I guess you all know what that means, smart. And then here, we enforce what we call work-life balance, WLB. And what that then means is that every staff must go on their leave as at when due. And in addition to the leave days, we brought what we now call the flexi work, where people can now work from their home. Then the last I would like to talk about that is that a few years back, we brought in some consultants because we found out that, and what we found was we thought we were doing work, but what they then found out was that productivity here was as low as 35% in a great organization as ours. And therefore, they brought in a scheme we call the hands-on tools time. And that really, stepped things up to the best in class as we now are. Ethical, let me just make that short. There was an important question that was asked around Nigeria ethics. That's a very fantastic one. And what I would like to share here is this. Every individual, for example, that works, here where we work, we all have individual ethics. Yeah? However, it's important that we have the Nigerian all-encompassing values and ethics. For example, for NLNG staff, every staff who comes in from day one, we share what we call our 10 behaviors, the 10 Bs. Irrespective of what you come in with, we have the 10 Bs. And in addition to that, we have what we call our core values, irrespective of what you come in with. And as are integrity, teamwork, respect, excellence, and care. So it's important, ma, that we need to walk that space. What is the Nigerian ethics and core values? It's important, ma. So let me just end again, ma. We appreciate your recent time. In fact, I would like to have your slides, like to go through it, and I will make sure that if you don't mind, we will share this among our staff here. So on that note, I really want to thank you, and thank you, Dr. Chris, for being able to put things like this. I thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, both the chairman and everyone. So we would like to leave our host, since today is International Women's Day, so that she can have time to enjoy herself and participate in the other activities she has. Thanks a lot. So I'm bye for now. Idris Tahi, although we have officially closed, I promise that I will listen to you and also,
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity and good morning. Thank you for this wonderful and educative presentation. Ma, you did mention of being compassionate as a factor that influences productivity. My question is, how do you balance between being compassionate and ethical in our kind of work environment? Because I think we tend to misunderstood being unethical as being compassionate, especially in Nigeria. So please, how do you create that kind of balance? My profession deal with people. I provide services. I'm a medical doctor, and I'm always in this middle of in a quagmire of where people will ask you to do something that is unethical. Hence, they are demanding it from you as being compassionate. So please, how do somebody create that kind of balance? Thank you very much.
okay, Madam, this is the last question before we allow you to go.
Okay, thank you so very much. Well, when we're talking about compassion, feelings, you listen to or agree with some people's views. It is not unethical for one to be compassionate. For instance, there's a worker who comes to you and tells you that he has a doctor's appointment or he's sick. Can you kindly give him some few hours off? And you say no. That's not compassion. That's not compassionate. So when we say compassion, we don't mean that you are lenient. You know, it's like you're considerate in some certain issues. It can give different meanings, but whatever decision you're going to make, it has to be within the norms of that particular organization. But you look at the employee himself or herself, try to address some issues with a little compassion. That's what we're trying to say. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here.
Yes, thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
So, Idris Tahir, don't do anything that will bring your name to disrepute. That is not being compassion. Okay, bye-bye all, and see you next month when we'll be having another lecture.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you
you,
for having
Doc.
me. Yeah.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Prof. Yeah.
All right.
Bye and thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.